Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out this evening. This Enon Village Council meeting for Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Mayor Howard and Ms. Sweet are multitasking this evening. There's a school board planning commission meeting or something toward that in effect, so they're representing the village in that, and we will go ahead and hold our council meeting as we normally do. Therefore, when the mayor's absent, the council president becomes the president pro temp, and as president of council, I'll be acting on behalf of Mayor Howard this evening. Mr. Seifert, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Mrs. Sweet? Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker? Mr. Avery?
Here.
Mr. Hannah?
Here. We do have enough members of council present to satisfy a quorum, and if you'll stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any additions to the agenda or any communication item this evening?
I'd like to make an addition to the committee reports, an update on the Public Service Committee.
Public service, okay. And if we could have a motion to excuse Mr. Whitaker.
So moved. Second.
And Mr. Seifert, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes. All righty. If we could go ahead and take a moment to review the minutes of July 26, I'd entertain a motion to move those if there are no corrections or objections.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. If we can call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes, thank you. And before you, you have the financial report for the month of July. At this point, overall, it appears that we are just about at 50%, 56% of our yearly budget out through the end of July. The mayor advised me this afternoon that we should be anticipating the second half of the real estate taxes coming in the very near future. So that will change considerably on our revenue as it stands. So if my council members would like to review that and see if there's anything that stands out, otherwise I'd entertain a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
Again, so moved.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
I'll second.
And the calling of the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes, thank you. Okay. We have no communications that I'm aware of. Then with that, we'll go into the staff reports, and Mr. Seifert, if you'd like to go forward with your report.
All righty, thank you. Mr. Hannah, council, residents. The mayor's court report you have in front of you in your packet there were 2 cases for this month, 1 traffic and 1 criminal. Total funds received for the month, $1,160. Year-to-date, $15,310. Total remitted to the state, $75. Year-to-date, $2,460. Total remitted to the village this month, $1,082. Year-to-date, $12,754. And total dispersed, $1,160. Year-to-date, $15,310.
Okay. Kevin, do you need a motion to approve those?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the mayor's court report.
Second.
And the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
All right.
One traffic and one criminal. I'm not sure if we're pacing ourselves, apparently.
On what?
I mean, it's just a matter of interest, Kevin, but do you know if what we owe the state went up? I mean, did they increase their percentages? Because we have less revenue but more income to the state than what we had last year. Or even though we have less revenue this year, our contributions to the state have increased.
I can find out. I don't know that answer for sure, Dave.
I mean, it's not a big deal. I was just wondering if for somehow the percentages went up or the costs went up that we owe the state.
Where you at, Dave?
Under funds dispersed, okay?
Uh-huh.
And you look at total received, we received last year, we received 18,000, but only remitted 2287 to the state. This year, we received 15,000, so 3,000 less, but we've paid more to the
More
state
to the state, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm with
by
you.
$100. So why are we paying more to the state? I was just asking.
I'll look into that.
Okay, thanks, kind
Yep.
sir.
Planning Commission, there's just a reminder, there's still an opening on the Planning Commission. If you know of
Start
anybody
working
that is interested in filling that position, have them maybe write a letter to the village here, and we can kind of maybe get them in place there. We have a Planning Commission meeting set for August 23rd at 6 p.m. The item on the agenda there is for a lot split request.
Right.
So that's August 23rd at 6 p.m. The gas company, Columbia Gas, is going to be relocating a line, and that's part of the Xenia Road project that's going in front of the school. Right now, Marathon's out there taking a casing off of their fuel line there. That's why the road is closed. So Columbia Gas is going to be getting in there later this week or early next week, and they have to relocate some gas line, or a gas line that runs from Green Vista across the road and then down to Rebber Pike, then it'll cross again, and then it'll end up their project will end at Hunter Road. There's 6 different places that they're going to be crossing the road. One at Green Vista, one right in front of the school, just past where the Marathon's working. I think it's real close to the first drive there. That spot where they're going to cross the road there is going to be about 14 feet deep because they got to go under the sewer line. The rest of the places are going to be about 3 foot deep, so they're not going to be any deeper in the rest of the 5 different spots than 3 to maybe 3.5 feet deep. So that's not really going to be a concern for our water lines. It's going to be over our water line. But the one right there in front of the school, they're going to be considerable underneath our water line, and so we're going to be out there watching them and make sure nothing happens to the water line. They're going to be vacuuming, to try to locate our utilities first, the best they can. So, but
How old's the water line that runs down through there? How old do you
how
have any
old?
idea?
Oh, I don't know. It's an
Yeah,
old
I'm concerned
transite.
about once that starts getting some vibrations around it, or
Yeah, it's an old transite, so that's what kind of makes us nervous, especially in that 14-foot depth area. But they're going to pothole it, with their hydrovac and locate it first, and that way they know where it's at. But then once they get their line underneath there, then they're going to fill that area up with like CDF. That's one of the requirements that the village has. So the other areas, like I say, they're going to be over it, and there's not too big a concern. So, but we've got we put it on Facebook and the website just to because we got to reroute some water to isolate that area just in case, it would crack or whatever. So we're kind of getting ahead of the game, preparing ourselves in case we have to shut off water, things like that. But we are going to be rerouting some water. So, and we put on the Facebook. We'll put it on tomorrow. I wrote up a little letter today to the residents, just saying, hey, if they get some brown water, discolored water, do this, run your outside faucet, see if it clears up. If not, let us know, but there's a chance that by rerouting the water for that short a time, it may stir up something in that area. So
many hopes that road was going to close or was going to open up earlier than what we thought probably is went by the wayside.
Well, they'll be through that. They want to get that 14-foot done right in front of the school to have it open for the school. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then the rest of the way, they can maybe have one lane open or something like that. It'll be open. So.
Yeah, but school doesn't open until the 29th. They're not talking about doing this for 3 more weeks, are they?
It may take them.
Really?
It may take them
Okay.
probably a week and a half, 2 weeks to get all
Everything
that
done?
way. Yeah. So
cool.
so it'll be close, but they want to do that deepest spot right there while the road's closed, and be done and out of there. So I'll keep you posted on that. As time goes on, OPWC application was submitted to the county for the wastewater replacement project, and that includes the wastewater line coming from the plant, running along Enon Road to the Mad River there. So the subcommittee meets next Tuesday on the 16th to see if they can award more points and stuff. So hopefully we get some more points. We're at 74 points with that project right now, and I think last year the points cutoffs was like 80 points. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll let you know. The concrete pads is complete at Settlers Park. Did a heck of a job, pouring the concrete pads, and I think he kind of learned a lot and learned how to pour concrete in the heat of the day real fast, So. But no, it turned out good. He's finishing up the picnic tables to bring them up, and he's going to be getting the brick entryway to the one pad there. He's going to get that started, so it's coming along good. So, and I just heard from Ian. He's the Eagle Scout that's doing the Gaga Ball pit at Enon Park. He just emailed me late this afternoon, said he's ready for that to be dug out. So that project's going to start here real shortly too. So, let's see here. Other than that, I think that's all I have, Mr. Hanna, for now. That I can
Our
think of.
employee that got injured, how's he doing?
Oh, he went. BWC called and scheduled the MRI for him. So that should be him. His MRI. He was hoping he'd have it done by now, but it's on their time frame. So so I'm hoping he'll have a date here probably within the next week for the MRI.
He's still
We won't know anything. He's getting along fine. I mean, I got him in here, working, doing some paperwork stuff, office stuff. So, but he says he's getting along fine. He doesn't think that he tore or ripped anything, but we'll find that out when the MRI comes.
I'll tell him once again we're thinking of it.
Yeah, and how that happened, if you didn't know, they were working on a water leak up there in Houck Meadows. The trench was 3 foot deep. He had one foot, his right leg on the water line, and the other leg on the ground. And the bank came in on his right knee and buckled his knee. So, so we'll see. Hopefully nothing bad. Hopefully it's just a strain. So we'll see, and I'll let you know.
And Kevin, they just, are you and the mayor aware that the TCC annual meeting is this Friday? Out of Clark State?
I think I seen that email. Yes.
I just
yes.
want to make sure that, I
Yes.
mean, I know sometimes you go, and I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that you were aware of
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
So,
Mike mentioned yesterday the meeting down at the park real quick.
We had a meeting, Rick and myself and Todd Pettit, Jason, and the chief was down there just to kind of take a look at an access road off the cul-de-sac there at the Enon Park going over to the new property. And maybe starting that anyhow. And we kind of looked out there to see, kind of just get some, a little bit of an idea, just discussion going on, how we can maybe arrange a few things. And we even talked about areas to stockpile some stuff, sand, gravel, things like that we know that we might need, that we can get. If we can get, then where can we put them? But I think the next thing that we're waiting on, and we're hoping to have that modeling done, the well field modeling done by Brent Huntsman here in October. So that's the first thing we have to decide, based on his study, where the potential 1 or 2 wells are going to go, and then the design of the complex can be designed around that, I guess. So
Yeah, you don't
'Cause
want,
those-
you don't want a well in the middle of the line between first and second base of a ball
That's
field.
right. So, and those wells have to be so many feet from the property line, so many feet from the creek, and nothing can be built within that 300-foot range, things like that. So there's a lot to it, other than just we're going to put a well there, a well here. So, but we're hoping October we'll have some more answers on that. So.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. And Chief Holler.
Thank you. Acting Mayor Hannah for tonight. Evening Council, residents. Sorry. I think, just to piggyback on that real quick, I kind of think a water slide to second would be, would make baseball a lot more fun than it already is. My first one, I've got hiring updates. I'm trying not to eat this microphone. I've got, after your approval there of upping the pay, we utilized that sign out front. I got up there noted what we're hiring at. Also, the state EMA got back in touch with me last week. I had applied for the grant money, or the ARPA funds, where they had put out to bring you for recruitment and retention. They reached out to me. There's some numbers. We're the definition of a full-time employee to the Village of Enon Police Department was anybody that works more than 32 hours a week. And I had explained to them that the separation of the insurance and this and that. We were talking about that. They're trying to make sure that people can get this grant money. I guess some of the fire agencies maybe that didn't. The way their hiring process was, it kind of wasn't fitting into maybe their plan. I don't know. But anyways, they'd called to touch base. I refigured it and kind of went over my stuff, and I did have assistance from the Ohio plan. I came up with this at 6.45 employees is what we should be at versus the 5.45, which for generic, that just sounds like generic numbers, but that's the difference of if we are approved for the grant of being funded for 2 years of reimbursement for 20 hours a week for an officer versus reimbursement for 40 hours a week for an officer. It's the difference of a full-time and part-time 2-year possible funding. I'm optimistic that we'll get at least the part-time, but in the same token, I'm really trying to get us a full-time, and that would fund 2 years of an officer at our current pay scale. Also with insurance benefits, fringe, and all that, I had to get all that. So they said they apologized for it taking so long, but they were working on it, and I said, you don't have to apologize to me. You're doing us the favor. So, but I just want to bring you up to speed on that. I did talk to them last week. I was on the phone with them for about 2 hours back and forth. They're really, really, really helpful with us, and I do appreciate that. But that is from the EMA, the state EMA, for the ARPA fund. So, to be. I've had some people send verbally interested in saying they were going to grab some applications, but I have yet to see it. Of course, I don't know if they get them from up front or not. And
Well, they can download them from the website too, I believe, can they not?
they can. Yes. And I haven't checked to see if that's got that up there a little bit more visible, but I was going to lay some out at National Night Out, but we just were a little overwhelmed. The second thing, I have safety equipment. We go ahead and I don't have anything on that or the storage cabinets. The storage cabinet, we have some cabinets out back, and I'd asked a few years back of different who was using them and who weren't. The brown ones out there, and Kevin, I don't know if you know, we can discuss it later. I was just wanting to utilize some of the older cabinets if they're not, because
I know there's some empty out there. So.
Yeah, I do too. And I know that they weren't supposed to be empty, but they are currently empty, and they've been empty for a while. So if they're not going to have the real estate taken, I would like to borrow that real estate and the cabinet for our inside until, or I can buy a new one, but I'd rather use the old. It doesn't matter, but we could use it in the patrol room. The training updates, I have Officer Miranda Dunham. She successfully completed her school resource officer training week 4 last. She's now number 2. The school resource officer is employed by our agency. I'm one, and she is another. So congratulations to her. That was a week-long work, and obviously the week that she had to go followed a tragic incident we had. So my hat's off to her for pushing through that and doing a fantastic job. She's learned a lot, and she was very excited, and she got her pin. So good job to her. I have August 22nd through the 26th. I'll be at a Linux scripting class down at NCFI. It's a week, so I'll be going for that week. I'll be coming back on the 26th. That's
You said for Linux?
Yeah, it's called Linux scripting. It's just another one of those computer digital forensics things from the Secret Service. It's free.
I know that we're looking over the pay scales and stuff like that, but usually what's happened too is once that village on the administrative side have received certain training accomplishments or certain levels of expertise, that there was consideration on pay commensurate with what you may have accomplished or what levels you may have gotten.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Officer Dunham, but again, we're not going to have technically an SRO, but that's maybe something to keep in the back of our mind as our officers get more training, that it might be an incentive for them to.
I would say we actually do have SROs. We've had SROs. I mean, I know what you were talking about. We're not contracted per se for our SRO duties, but we have provided SRO services to the Green and Indian Valley and Enon Primary and in the Green and Local since I became an SRO way back in the day. So, I mean, we just don't get reimbursed for it, but
But that may be something we may want to look toward as far as.
But yeah, as far as, yes, giving her the recognition in some sort of pay, I would like to do that. I was waiting until maybe we finished that salary study, and I know you guys approved that, but I didn't want to overstep my boundaries on that and wait and see what we had, because I know we were talking about giving percentages and stuff. So hopefully that'll get wrapped up soon, and we'll definitely address that. If not, I'll tag her in it on her 1 year here coming up. I also have a CIT training. They finally, now that COVID is depreciated a little out of the way, they have a CIT, which is the critical incident training. I attended that. The Enon Police Department's always tried to get their full-time officers. That's a 40-week-long course, and that focuses more towards your mental health and stuff like that. It's a really good free program, but it is a week-long. It's coming up in September. I'm flipping a coin on which officer I'm going to send to that, but I'm not going to double back on Officer Dunham, though she does need to go. But I don't want to throw everything on her on that. So I'm going to send an officer to that in September. We have some school training coming up. We're going to do that this weekend. Anybody sees the Enon Police Department down at the school, we're just taking our turn to go in there and just get prepared for anything, which is what we do normally, but this is different because it's just us and we get the building to ourselves, so we'll utilize that, and we'll do some force-on-force scenarios coming up. I would like to get with the fire department. If I can't get my officers down to that stop the bleed training, I'd like to try to get some of the officers that aren't able to get to that you're offering it there. I think you got it coming up here to school for the staff. If there isn't room, I'd like to get our officers to all that, and then I do need to get our
Kettering Health is running that training. We're not running that training.
Okay.
Kettering Health donated that stuff to the school district. Just based on some push from Chief Heath to get that in.
Okay.
But the part of the deal was they did the training. So.
Oh, fantastic! I know the chief had talked about that.
They're coordinating that with Mr. Kanapke. So.
Okay, I'll see if maybe we can get with the chief or something. We'll see if we can find that, and then I got to get to. We'll just keep on moving on that. I'm going to try to get Officer Reynolds into FTO training this calendar year. They've got a couple coming up, depending on how scheduling goes and staffing will go on that. So But that's my big training update, but we're constantly pushing that. The state's requiring us to do a lot of mandated CPT training, so that's filling them all up too. I think I set the record for training back in 13, but that wasn't by my choice.
We've always
In
said
one
that
calendar year, yeah.
we may not be able to pay sometimes the top dollar, but at least we can keep the training rotating through all the officers to give them some incentive to stay with us or to broaden their horizons. I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and I'm continuously am continuing trying to do that because I agree. And plus, it just fine tunes their skill set. On miscellaneous communications, I'll cover a couple. I think I just went squirrel on you for a minute. I had to have some repairs done to the cars, brakes and stuff, so I got hit with a couple invoices. I just kind of staggered the work to get the fleet in and out. Tim's Automotive and CNC Body, I'm sorry, they took care of us pretty good. Got all the brakes on and everything's moving around. I got a piece blown off the one passenger side of the vehicle. It's a trim piece. I don't know, it looked like it was Velcroed on, but if you see that damage, it's not from a collision or any type of damage. It's just from wear and tear, and I think the wind caught it. And one of the Officer Reynolds pointed that out to me the other day, and so I have to trying to find some scrap pieces from other agencies to see if we can't get it inexpensive, if not free, and then we'll work on having to purchase it. It's cosmetic, but it is right around the window on one of the SUVs. Officer McHenry, when we went to the funeral prior to going to Deputy Yates's funeral, he was able to get a hold of a gentleman here in the village that waxed those cars and cleaned them up for us very, very, very reasonable rate. And my thoughts was $200, and he did all of them. And so if you see them all shining, yeah, he detailed all the exterior of all four of them, and it took him more. He thought he was going to do it in a day, and I knew that probably wasn't going to happen. I wasn't not on his skill set, just the fact that there's a lot of dirt on those cars. But he went into the next day and he got it all taken care of for us. And I want to tell them thank you for that. And I appreciate it. And thanks to Officer McHenry for setting that up. He called me late on the weekend. I didn't know what else to say. As far as the mayor's court reports, we write a lot of tickets in the. We write a lot of our tickets go to municipal court. And I know back in the earlier stages we had discussed it, but I want to look into maybe if we can see. I don't want to affect our village ordinance, obviously, but I know that talking to some other chiefs, the reason why we don't get any funds from the municipal court for citations and charges that are sent up there is because it's required that we adopt the Ohio Revised Code as our ordinance. I know that our current codified ordinance, a lot of those laws are repealed. They're not even laws, but they're in that versus they're not state law. For example, shortcutting of private property was repealed out of the Ohio Revised Code. Therefore, but we have a local ordinance on it. But the easy track around that would just transfer the case to municipal court, and it would just be dismissed because it's not a law. But I don't know if we can have them both. But I know that's something maybe we can talk about in a public safety meeting, but if we can adopt the Ohio Revised Code as our main statute, I know that can get us revenue from municipal court for the citations and charges we put up there. And that is, my understanding, is the holdup. I spoke to one of the other local agency chiefs because they were talking about getting their check. I said, how do you do that? I knew townships could, but municipalities are a little different. I've read the statute on that, and I had called up and talked to some of the court staff, and they had mentioned that, but while I was at the funeral, I spoke to somebody about it, and that's what they were telling me that was the workaround. So it isn't much, but $10 if it's $10, it's better than the no bucks that we get now. So just maybe food for thought. I'll put a note on that to try to look into it more. But
Okay.
Kevin, I'm not sure if you want to check that out also, please, but we don't want to hinder our court, but in the same, or some of our local ordinance, like, our ordinances, zoning and stuff. But I think that would, moving forward, that might be a way to go, because especially since a lot of the charges that we write have to go to that court. Maybe something we can look into. Short of that, I will. That's my report. I'll field any questions you all have, or from the audience, or wherever. Good to go.
National Night Out, I know I caught the very end of it, but I definitely like to thank the fire department and the other agencies that participated in that, and it looked like you had a good turnout, and we always appreciate what y'all do, and Miranda went above and beyond, and and several others did too, to get that done in the manner it was done. So, we appreciate how that played out. And if you can pass that on to Chief Heath and let him know that we appreciate that too.
Yeah, thank you for it. And there was some invites that weren't sent out to some of the agencies. I was shooting out some emails, and it was kind of a lot, and I missed a lot of people. I apologize for that. Hopefully next year. We were rusty for 2 years because we had a little break, but I do think it went well. Thank you for that. And everybody that showed up and helped and supported it, it was fantastic. I'll give you a dollar amount. I'm sorry. It was $11.25 is what we pulled in from the raffles and stuff to go to Shop with a Cop. Thank you for bringing that up, because I didn't forget. I just talked around it and never got back to it. But I thought that was pretty good. So the donations and then the community, fantastic. And the shirts were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So Officer Dunham made those. There it is.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Committee reports. Mr. Bear?
I just wanted to bring an update to the residents that the Public Service Committee will be having a meeting on Tuesday the 16th at 6 p.m. Continuation of the payroll conversation.
At 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. Kevin just popped my mind. All of our IDs for the people that got reelected expired January 1st of this past year. So we need to figure out how to, and who all needs to have IDs renewed or made.
Okay.
Schumacher or something else that crossed my mind. We have no new business. We have no executive sessions.
One thing I forgot, the blood drive is August 24th from 1 to 7. I was told there was 47 slots and 25 are taken so far. And if anybody's interested in donating blood again, donortime.com is where you register at. So that's August 24th from 1 to 7.
Okay. Comments from the public? Before we adjourn, I'd just like to tell everybody that at our last meeting, out of trying to be humorous, I think I stepped outside my boundaries and prematurely and kind of sarcastically made a comment to motion to adjourn. That was neither professional nor was it representative of what we try to do here, so I apologize to everybody for that. And with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
And call the roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Thanks, everybody.